Hello, everybody. It's Leela.
And Beau.
Welcome to my channel. Today, what?
I'm feeling a little bit beat up, hungover, after watching the very first punk rock K-Con last night. What was that?
Before we begin our discussion about Queendom,
Woo!
we did watch the Chicago K-Con premiere live stream last night. We didn't go to it.
Brilliant.
We're not from there. Wild. Chaos. Madness,
Yeah, if you want to know, go to KCON Official, subscribe for $20. Mm-hmm. You watch all of it.
Yeah,
then tonight is... tonight!
Stacy Girls!
So, it was smoky. Like, you could see the heat. Like, you could tell it was a hot.
Yeah.
That was like a night at the Apollo. Like, people were screaming and booing and getting off the stage.
Wild.
It was nuts. It was so good, though, because it felt to me like a cathartic release of just... of sadness for all the horrible things that have happened in the last 2 years, of joy, and then you have B2B, who is a perfect
host.
You're in good hands with B2B.
Headliner for that show. Yeah,
Peniel
it was good.
That he was from Chicago, so he was proud of his city. I wanted to see him take him to get some deep dish, although screw deep dish. But, it was so good. It was just chaos. It was. I was like, what are you doing? Feedback. Bunch of feedback. I'm like, yes, getting the feedback, dancing in the audience, like just shaking hands with people, like, hey, what's up? How you doing? You know,
it was wild, everyone. It was wild.
That's how K-pop should be.
It was last night, and I haven't looked at any comments online. I don't know if anyone else watched that and noticed what we did about it. It was just madness.
It was great.
Anyway, if we end up going, they announced more K-Cons. There's going to be a couple of them in Texas. If we end up going, I think that we'll vlog it.
Yeah, we need to meet some people who, if you happen to listen and stuff.
Make some content.
Maybe we
about
go
it.
to both. What if somebody's cool?
Anyway,
all right.
That was really fun.
It was great. It was good fun. Good fun.
Today, though, the main topic of today, aside from that sideline, is Queendom Season 2, Episode 8. Before we
subtitled Hikaru, Dion, Mashiro, and Yeso are all grounded. Take away the switches. Boys ain't going nowhere. They not coming over.
Would you let me ask people to subscribe?
I'm sorry.
Before we begin, if you haven't already and you like these sorts of chaotic discussions, please subscribe to my channel. We do recaps for Queendom every weekend, every Saturday normally. Next week it might be on Sunday, just as an FYI for our subscribers.
Oh no, next week I'll be gone.
Please subscribe. I know, we're going to have to do it on Sunday.
All right.
Please subscribe and leave us a comment.
I love comments.
We have a discussion today. Leave us your answer to our discussion today.
Yeah,
so,
that'll be at the end.
Towards the end. So, for today, we're talking about the Fantastic round.
Fantastic.
I was calling it Fandemonium because that's what it was last year, but it's
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Right. The first 3 performances of the Fantastic, which is round 3.
Best so far.
We're almost done.
This is so good.
And then we also have a Reddit discussion today if you hang around a bit towards the end of the episode of our podcast.
Yeah, look for that on the subreddit
and
on the Queendom 2
are going to discuss biases.
Biases.
Our biases.
Yes.
So are you ready to get into the performances?
I got my coffee.
Okay. Oh no, he has coffee today, everyone.
I'm trying to stay. Had no sleep thanks to my dog and the punk rock feedback in my ears.
Okay. First up this week in the
Kepler.
fandom round, for each of these performances, we'll talk about how they chose the song and the behind the scenes, and then we'll talk about the performance. Okay.
Very well.
Because that was part of it. Was the behind the scenes was really fun.
Legit.
We had Kepler's doing Girls' Generation song "The Boys." And
side question: was the Girls' Generation? I'm not really familiar. Were they always kind of girl crushy like that generally? Do you know, or were they?
I don't know if the term "girl crush" existed in their gen.
Well, but you know that this style of song. Somebody tell me in the comments. Yeah. I'll need to look them up. I'm interested in Girls' Generation because they're gonna have a comeback. Yeah,
like we're newer K-pop fans. If you haven't, if this is your
years.
First time listening,
4 years.
We've been into it for 4 years. But again, we kind of missed the Girls' Generation boat, like the second gen groups. I'm not as familiar. I've heard this song.
Yeah, I have too.
I've heard other Girls' Generation songs. I've heard GG, and stuff like that. But again, that was like years before I got into K-pop. So we're a little less familiar. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the performance in the song.
Okay.
Because that does play into my thoughts about the song.
Roger.
The first part of this is that it was really cute. This whole episode showed behind the scenes of everyone.
I live for this stuff.
How they chose the song for their fan choice song. And Kepler's was so cute. They're like, what should we do? We want to surprise our fans and do like a surprise thing.
Yeah.
So what the company did was that they put up a notice for a Wa-Da-Da dance class if people wanted to come. They had like 30 people, it looked like. Come to this dance class and learn the choreography for Wa-Da-Da.
Could you imagine being able to go to that?
So, these people came and they were like going to learn the choreography. So the teacher was there.
So was it the school that is taking credit for Minyuk's school then? Because didn't he do Wa-Da-Da? No, he didn't do Wa-Da. He did Mask. So in other words, that wasn't Kepler's like headquarters. That was the dance school for the choreographer.
That was probably just a dance school that they rented out.
Okay, honestly. I thought it was their choreographer saying, "I'm the one who did Wa-Da-Da.
No, I don't think so.
Learn the Wa-Da-Da."
No, it was just like a fan event day.
Excuse me.
They put it on for like the official.
Excuse me.
They're actually having their quit that.
I'm sorry.
I'm not editing.
I'm sorry.
They're actually opening their first official fan club. Like, you can buy your fan club.
Dome.
I haven't done that
club.
yet. I haven't decided if I'm gonna. I'm probably not gonna.
DAUM, whatever that's called.
Anyway, they put up that notice, and so people were going to this, not knowing what it was, just thinking they were going to a fun dance class. It was really small.
You don't think they had suspicion?
Maybe. I don't know. So they went in there, and then as they're doing the dance, Mashiro and Youngun kind of snuck in the back and were acting like they were part of the members of the class, just like not dancing very well. And then they have everyone do like this row come to the forward and do the dance. And then they have the two of them come to the forward. You guys haven't danced yet. And they come to the forward and they play the song and they take off their hat and
everybody's going.
And it takes a minute for everyone for it to register.
Yeah, because it could have just been some wacky fans.
Yeah.
I thought that's about as good as it could have gone. I thought it was. I mean.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
And they were like, oh my God. And then the rest of the members came out and it was really cute.
I mean, you're in a basement.
It was like a basement.
Practice space. No, it was. It was a small space. And I thought, they're just walking down the stairs right into the arms of these fans. And the fans start to mob them for a second. And
they weren't too bad.
No, not a bad way. Not a bad way, but just excitement. You went, oh my God. And there was only, 30 fans or whatever. So it was like.
Maybe even like 20.
This section for me, I thought about it so much because again, I tend to look too much into things, I think. But this was such a beautiful little segment. It was
really sweet.
It wasn't just that, but Kepler is brand new. They're fans themselves of K-pop, so they're spending time meeting the biggest artists in K-pop, and probably movie stars. They probably run across all sorts of people in this industry, and they will more. So they're constantly. I could not imagine how they're doing this and keeping up the spirit they have. So they needed this fan day, I think. They come down. They're starting to get mobbed by fans. Now, granted, they've had some physical offline meetings, fan meetings, but this was like sweating, everybody, dancing and laughing, having the energy was crazy, and they come down just screaming, wee, and it's like what, but. So they do the dance and stuff like that, and it's obvious. I mean, that these are not just normal fans they pulled off the street. They're probably fan club people. They probably they checked them out a bit, made sure that they're not real fans, but
that they're not going to do anything.
Also, that they wanted to pay back. And this was a running theme in each one of these segments was that a lot of the fans came representing a club.
It seemed like that was the case. Yeah. So they sat down, with them, which is like, how lucky are you that you got
like
to
you're just going to chill out and talk to us
and said, hey, we want to know what song you guys think that we should do, and that people were giving suggestions versus like you got to sit there and like give them suggestions, and then one of the guys that was there said, do the Boys by Girls Generation, and it's like. He suggested that. He gets to say, I suggested this.
I mean, it is. I'm not being cynical at all. It is possible being that they kind of, coach people a bit here and there and stuff like that. But it felt very natural to me and just kind of, Koreans are, I should say this, they put off, from what I understand, that they're very polite in person. They're not just going to, they're going to take turns and stuff like that. So it was a little bit kind of awkward at first and stuff. But then they had a lot of fun. But then they start... young and I'm like, I can hear the shake in your voice. Here we go. This is like the next 12 minutes of crying. I'm going to cry like 4 times. I'm going to try to hide it from my wife. I don't know why I do that. She knows me and accepts me as I am. It's a safe space, but I cry so many times. You don't notice. I get up and I go to the sink or I go to the bathroom, and I just kind of wipe it away. And I'm like, how can I blow my nose without sounding like I'm crying? I don't know why.
I didn't notice.
You say you've seen me cry.
You hide it.
I don't know. I don't know. It's a societal
toxic masculinity.
It's toxic masculinity. No. Let's get into that. No. But she says, I just needed that. Oh, fine. and then Eugen just covers her face, and Yeso being so sweet is like, you said you're not gonna cry. I'm like, oh my god, it's so freaking cute. Like, if that's your little sis and she's saying don't cry, you're gonna cry more. But then Mashiro starts talking and just has an ugly cry moment to where people are kind of laughing because it's just an ugly cry, and she's like, I don't know what's happening, I'm just crying. But then what I thought about this moment was so nice is that K-pop, for all its foibles, there are some weird stuff. There's some.
Oh yeah. There's plenty of negativity.
K-pop is on one hand intensely private, but on the other hand intensely open about very raw emotions. They don't necessarily get into specifics of the emotion, but they tell you the emotion. Granted, they know that makes people click, and it kind of is. I'm not saying they fake it ever. I'm just saying that they're encouraged to do this. But for a bunch of young kids to get together, the oldest is 26. I was such a dork at 26. There's no way I can handle this. And to start talking, when you feel something, it doesn't mean Mashiro's depressed or that. It means that you have something that's been troubling you. You want to get it out, and that's why therapy works. You simply talk it out. You feel better afterwards, and you could tell afterwards. She did a deep breath and she said thank you and stuff. And it had a very nice moment that they actually received encouragement from and said, now we can go forward with a better spirit. And it was their peers, their age group.
It goes without saying they've had a hard time in the show thus far. They've had things go wrong almost every
They've had a hard time for the last year. Well, it's been intense.
I honestly, I can't imagine everything. But I thought it was like so sweet, and not to get emo or whatever. But those fans that had the opportunity and that were brave enough to speak up, that weren't shy, to sit there and say to their face, like, we can leave nice comments online and maybe they'll see it and stuff like that. But to actually get to say to their face, no, really, like,
real life comment.
There are people who think that you're the best. Like, you have people that love you and that you're their favorite group, you're their favorite idols. We think you're amazing. Don't worry about
this is also though
like ranking or negativity or any of the people who might say negative things or whatever. There are fans that support you, and we like literally think you're like the greatest.
But I think I agree. I think so though what really stands out for me though is that it illustrates that a K-pop is a creation of a pretty big business usually. In this case, one of the biggest, probably the biggest in the game, other than like Hybe and stuff like that. That probably control more eyeballs than Hybe does in some ways with the YouTube stuff. And they have their, all right, we're having our shareholders meeting, and it's always some dude CEO talking. The artists aren't anywhere. This is a direct connection between the artist, who is the product but is also the reason it's successful or not successful, and the literal consumers and supporters of that product. This was a shareholders meeting it's seriously based on emotion. They were willing to listen to each other. Somebody could have had a complaint, and they would have listened to it. Yeah. And this was a theme through any of them that met with people. Hyolyn didn't really. Brave Girls didn't because they had sick a little bit. But you know what I mean? And to me, it was just such a sweet moment because these are kids their own age, if not even a little older in some cases. Some of them are younger and older. Yeah. And they're supporting each other. That's you can't fake. Aww. You can't fake that. And this is what I think wins people over with someone like a Kepler, is you get to know these groups and you fall in love with them because you get to see these really vulnerable moments, but you receive a bit of encouragement as well. It's kind of like a scary movie, it's not real, so you kind of go through the motions, and it's kind of you kind of enjoy the rush of it. It's kind of a similar thing with this. You care for these people, of course, you're not. So you enjoy going through this journey with them and seeing them grow, but it was such an authentic moment. I just think that gets overlooked so much. That K-pop, like I said, has a lot of issues and stuff, but I think overall it tries to be kind. It tries to express all that stuff, and that was just such a beautiful moment of Mashiro saying, "I'm sad, I'm crying, and you guys can cry if you want," stuff like that. And they gave a little to each other. That is the literal relationship that all of K-pop, this whole industry, is based on. And it reminds me of how important like these groups, they sound like they take their fans very seriously. Hey, the fans, and it's because that's literally the control the fans have. They buy your albums or not, they show up or not. So I just thought it was just brilliant moment. Yeah. And you can't fake it. There's no, fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. I think Coming out of that, I think the song choice was actually really good. Someone at some point during this show needed to do a Girls' Generation song, like for Taeyong.
Yeah, I was wondering too. Yeah.
Someone had to at some point, and they hadn't yet. So it was, and it's a good choice for them too to do like a classic song as a new group, and like show what you can do there. Like I said in my first watch and everything, not being terribly familiar with the song, like I've heard it, but I can't remember if I'd ever like really watched the music video or anything like that. I was like, what is this theme? What is going on? Why is it so dark? And then I was like, well, hold on a minute. Like, I need to go back and watch the original. So I watched like the original music video.
And it looks like
and it's very much like this. Like,
but everything was kind of like that then, though.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so.
It's like this dark techno future, like, kind of thing. So I was like, oh, okay. That is also paying homage to the original in the style of that they did here, the styling and everything. I thought so. Knowing that, it made me appreciate it more, because on first listen, if you aren't familiar, I was like, what is going on? Why are there cloaks? Why are they wings? Like, I
thought they were just trying to hide their costumes, but I know there's part of it.
But after seeing that and watching it a few more times, I think that it was really nice, and they actually pulled it off pretty well. There was a lot going on.
Yeah.
A lot.
Okay, we watched the fan cams. Bahi, what did I say? And I think I tweeted this. When they had those capes, I'm like, these are going to give me anxiety.
I know.
Pulled them off and set them on the stage.
Like,
so the backup dancers are supposed to grab them. Of course, because it's Kepler, and they can't get a staff to, but mistakes happen. They forget to wear they put the cell phone near Yeso. They give it the bubbles.
So many prop problems. I was like,
I'm
why
sorry.
are there so many props?
But the guy or girl, the person forgot to grab the cape. Watch Bahi's fan cam. This is what I want to see. And this is what I talked about I think on their first showing, if not their second, the race car one, whichever performance that one was. That you own this stage. This is your stage. Do not ask yourself, WWHD, what would Hyolyn do? She would. You drop a cape and you forget it, she's not going to go, oops, she's going to grab it and ball it up and throw it in the audience and blow it up and get it off her stage. Get angry if you have to. And Bahi had that look about it. Like
she had the energy.
She's like, and she's sick of having technical issues. She picked the cape up and threw it to the side. I was hoping she'd get even further to the side, but she was trying.
Yeah.
And
she took responsibility.
Another backup dancer grabbed it. Because it immediately, as soon as they saw it, I don't know.
It was right in the way.
Was Diane stepped on it first?
Bahi had stepped on it, which is how she noticed that it was there, and then someone else was stepping on it. It was like kind of right in the way. Again, unless you watch the fan cams, you don't notice this.
You need to watch them.
And they didn't make a big deal out of it on the episode. I think we're getting to the point now where
people make mistakes.
They're not making any big deals out of like little issues. It was a similar thing last time with the Subin's team. We didn't even notice that the mic stand almost fell down, and nobody made a big deal out of it. Little things happen.
That's what pros do.
But like in the first round, every little thing that went wrong, everyone made such a big deal. But now it's to the point where no one's making a big deal.
But the last time, Diane literally hurt her knee. She could have hurt a lot worse. And that was a literal another slipping moment. I thought, who thought to put the cloaks on the floor? Like, again, it's not Kepler's fault. But I love that.
But she picked it up and moved it.
I thought, and I was like, Bahi's going to be good.
You.
I'm like,
good for you.
She's sick of it. And not only that, she looked amazing. Bahi looked amazing.
Yeah, she did well.
She's as tall as shouting and stuff. She's going to be in a killer idol. And she sounded good for the few lines she had.
Yeah, the other thing that was really unique about this that was like, what we always say in these performances is I want to see something that will surprise me. I don't want to feel like I expected that. And I didn't expect the line distribution.
I didn't expect that.
It was kind of wild, actually, like the way they divided the lines for this. Like, Diane had a ton of vocal parts and like main vocal parts, high notes and stuff.
Why do you think they did that, though, this time around?
To do something different.
Listen, maybe fans gave feedback, or I'm not sure either, because I thought so different. Too. Are they going, okay, guys?
Because there's a lot going on. Again, I'm not a Girls' Generation fan, but they were a big group. They had Taeyong, they have a lot of main vocals and stuff. So it's a song that has a lot of those like main vocal parts. You can't just have one person do all of them. It would be practically a solo song.
It has like 5 power notes.
Yeah. So they distributed them. They gave some to Chaeyeon. They gave some to Youngwoo.
Mishiro.
They gave some to Miss Mishiro. She had a great Mashiro had a great solo, like, rap chanty part.
Yeah, she's not the best singer, but this is...
Diane had vocal parts.
Diane did great.
Super surprising.
When we first watched this, I thought this was vocally pretty disappointing. I thought,
it's not the greatest I've ever heard, but it was good to hear something different from them.
But when I put it on the Reddit, not my favorite. The rest of it, it shows how good they're just going to start going light speed and getting so tight as a group. Trust me, they're very, very... They're the new generation of... They're not Eiswan, where Eiswan was really good with dancing, coordinating, beautiful stuff. They're going to do these powerful things and get just so good at it. But... While vocally it wasn't the best, except for Youngun, I think, who is
her vocal
so
tone,
freaking good.
My God,
she's only
her part in this song.
I knew it.
My God,
she's such a good.
It was
Chan had some hard parts. That's not her usual style of singing, so she struggled a bit. But she is still good.
She pulled it off.
But what I saw with this was that I'm not disappointed if Kepler doesn't do super duper amazing, because they have their quote unquote career still ahead of them. They're young and they're and they're limited contract. They'll have opportunities. It's more the groups that are kind of at the end of their career. You're a little worried about Brave Girls and stuff. But this showed vocally how many different colors they can have. And I'm wondering if this came from fans going, please let us hear somebody else. Now, granted, people are kind of sick of hearing and seeing Diane. That's the meme with her. She's too much screen time stuff. But she's only getting better.
She deserves it.
She's only getting better. And she almost wipes out when she's doing literally...
She does all this stunt choreography. She has all this center time. And you know what? I'm not mad about it. Like, she's a hard worker. I have we'll get into it later, but she was cool. I mean, the only, like, downside I would say...
Yujin sounded great.
Yujin had a very small part.
One line, but still.
Shouting had a very small part.
I don't think she had
Yeso had a very small part.
To be fair, Yeso's always in the mix, though.
So, like... While I appreciated the surprising line distribution, it was different than what we've heard.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily like even or whatever.
No, but
that's fine. But I was still appreciated that we got to see different people.
A K-pop group, kind of the fans know that it's not always
they
even
did well in giving lots of members center time that really made them stand out. I thought they did well with that.
I think you had to be a bit more of a fan and insider to understand why this song was important.
Right.
But performance-wise, it was great as well.
It was good.
They're getting so much
tighter. I think it's
the
best they've done so far, and I like that it's the last of this round until we get a new song. Thank Jesus.
Yeah, and they're doing more.
I want a new song.
They're doing more than some of these groups who've been around 10 times as long as them, 8 times as long, 8 years, 7. It's. Kepler keeps impressing me. We like them. We've always loved them, but they're making you pull for them even more. But they're the most quote unquote whining these guys do is they cry at a fan, and it's so touching. And I'm just like, how are they doing this? They're not getting enough sleep. I'm just really impressed by them.
They're working hard.
I want them to take a break. I want them to take care of their health.
Me too. Like right now, they're filming a reality show, and I'm like, how do you have time for that? What? Go take a nap.
Well, because the reality show is supposed to be a quote unquote vacation, but we know it's still work.
Anyway.
But it was fantastic.
Anything else on this
one? I only felt one thing is I hate to say this, and I'm not saying anything against Kepler, but I think it might be a little. This was such a good performance. It was a little too late. The first two, if they would have. The people designing the line distribution stuff would have given this earlier.
We can't make comments about ranking until we see all 6, but I definitely don't think this would be the last.
No. I wouldn't be surprised if it's mid or high.
Mid tier, yeah, mid high.
It was great. It was their best performance for sure.
It was their best so far. Yeah, it was good. Good for them. Proud of you. Second was VIVIZ with doing Bop Bop. They again had a fan meeting to kind of pick the song, and they took. Notes and suggestions from fans. Theirs was really cute in that they made food. They made rice balls. They actually made it themselves, and then had the fans come to a little cafe.
Which is adorable.
Again, a very small group of fans come to the cafe, and they served them the food and said, "We made this." And did you really? And she's like, "I knew they wouldn't believe that we really made it." But
even non-COVID, I think that size of a meeting for something like this was perfect. Yeah, and they all had around 30 fans and stuff.
Yeah, it was small, but. And then they hung out at the cafe, and then they talked to their fans a little bit, which was cute. And they said, they didn't talk at the meeting about what song they wanted to hear, but they talked about what were your favorite moments. And everybody was talking about
they took notes.
All Simbi's memes, and some of the fans had some really sweet things to say because again.
I was like, let's get to some crying, man.
They tend to not harp on it very much, but G-Friend was very unceremoniously disbanded, and nobody knew what was going to happen. Yeah, but they were ever going to hear from them again.
They were a successful group, and then all of a sudden they just kind of...
and now we have this new group, and they have new style, and everyone's just really thankful for that and stuff. So it was really sweet, because there were fans there that had been fans since the beginning of G-Friend.
The little girl said, the young girl, I'm sorry, said it since she was 6th grade. This is the soundtrack of her life, to be cheesy. It's really, really what it is. I have a feeling that VIVIZ was a bit, I don't know, disappointed, but to have to do Bop Bop again, I think they did a fantastic job reinterpreting it, but what else are you going to do?
Why they chose the song and their reasoning for it was actually perfect, because
I just thought it's because most people put that on their comment thing.
No, I think it's because it was time now for them to we're VIVIZ now. We're not G-Friend anymore. We're not going to go back. We're not going to do nostalgia. They started the show with nostalgia.
Yeah, but
we're not going to do that anymore. This is who we are. This is their only title track that they have.
Cover,
I think if they would have done a cover or something, I would have enjoyed it as well.
That's what I'm saying.
It would have been surprising and really fun. But I think that they wanted to kind of pay homage to, this is who we are now. We didn't get to perform this song in front of fans yet. That's
right. Yeah.
Because they had just debuted.
They haven't done Bop Bop in this show yet, have they?
No.
Oh, that's right.
In the intro stage, there was a bit of it, but it wasn't.
That's right.
But they hadn't done it on the show yet.
That's cool.
So while we feel like we've heard it a lot, we really haven't.
Still.
So I think it's the right choice for them to have done it. I get it. It's cool, and it's a really good song.
Oh, it's a fantastic.
It's a damn good song.
The only quibble is that it's got tons of layering of voices. There are only 3 of them, and it's very important that those 50s style harmonies come in.
Mm-hmm.
They did it a little bit. I was kind of surprised that the other 2 girls, whoever wasn't singing, wasn't doing the little bit of bop bops and they did a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounded a little empty. But everybody sounded very live.
It sounded live, yeah.
And as much as people are dancing as hard as a lot of them are dancing, it sounded great. Yuna is, of course, obviously main vocals, and she hit all the notes fine and stuff. Sinbi's dances were amazing.
It was cute. I like their theme. They did a colorful high school thing, which is kind of, I was thinking earlier, it's kind of hilarious because there's one of the senior groups there. They're not the high schoolers, but they did a high school theme.
They could pass for high schoolers. It was really cute. Yuna could, for sure.
Their outfits, the Barbie doll dress and stuff, adorable. Was just
well, they didn't overdo it. 50s style bomber jacket. They didn't overdo it. They had when they do the cheerleading move, there's a move they do where they have to go up in the air and then they have to kick.
That was really cool.
It's just a little it's like a flavor of one of the many things you see at high school. So they did lockers, and she had all the notes. It wasn't
corny for being a high school theme.
I wonder
it was cute.
I wonder if
I love
younger people
and stuff.
And including VIVIZ did they even get paper notes as kids in high school?
I don't know.
They all had cell phones. No,
I don't know.
Even VIVIZ, that 10 years ago, they were almost. She had all those notes in her locker.
Yeah,
and I thought nobody's writing notes.
Anyway, I really like the cheerleading lift thing. I think that it was in the beginning and the lights weren't shown, so you kind of don't clock that what
right
they
away,
did right away, because it's really impressive, and then at the end they kind of lifted them up again.
But was it supposed to be a silhouette? I thought it was supposed to be a silhouette, so that's why the lighting was a bit odd. Maybe in live it looked better. But I love when they're practicing and they first do Yuna, and she just starts crying.
And the dance teacher's like, you've got to not practice the lift. You've got to practice not crying.
There's a running joke in the household. In a Seinfeld episode, he's dating a woman, and every woman he dates has a weird thing, and that's the running joke. Hers is that she cries about everything, movies, commercials. She drops her hot dog in the dirt and starts crying about her lost hot dog, and she's doing this kind of cute, ugly cry that Una does. And Jerry's like, again with the crying. But then they're at a thing, and she gets some really horrible news about her grandmother, and she's like, oh, whatever, just keep, and it's like, the big stuff doesn't make her cry, but Una...
She's the same way. She was crying about the lift, but
just then being lifted up.
But the fans making all these comments. She didn't cry. She held
it
together. It was cute.
She might have cried.
She's so funny.
But I think she just has. You know how some people have a gag reflex, or on Jackass, or they can make themselves do bad stuff really fast. She has a cry reflex. It's just it's a way to relieve a little stress. She got up in there, got scared, and I was. It's not going to hurt her image. She's so adorable. People are just like, oh my god. And the way she cries is just like so. It's just like. But about the performance.
It was really good.
Fantastic. My least favorite, because I have heard the song so much. Mm-hmm. We saw the high school thing with Luna bit. I'm not saying if I had to pick, it just didn't. I didn't feel like the last song you're doing before. This is like your last kind of hey, we're VIVIZ. What WJSN, what Kepler did were much more of a statement. We haven't seen the other three, but I thought this could have been a bit. Not it didn't have to be powerful, but maybe. Something just a bit more. It felt more like an earlier performance that we've seen that maybe they did.
Yeah,
even
it wasn't
an
like
intro
a big
performance.
grand finale, but it was good. But
like imagine this. This was the first song they came out doing this version of it. Bop bop. We all know it. And then the one they did earlier, they did now. That's the difference. That
actually is a good idea.
Well, you see what I'm saying though? It had more of a grand. Everybody's going to be doing
emotional thing.
And Hyolin's going to be doing her version of that with her. This is your ending statement, and I think it was not weak, but it just maybe should have been a bit more powerful.
Okay.
But they look great.
Yeah. And the last was WJSN with pantomime. So with theirs, they had an actual fan meeting, but it was a surprise. They didn't know the fans were there. They thought they were doing a live stream.
Yeah.
So they went to a stage.
You would do it in a little stage area. So.
They did it on the stage, and then like there was a curtain, and then there was people at again a small amount of fans at the back.
Could you imagine if one of the fans had sneezed? Hey, shoot! What was that? Hey!
And then they dropped the curtain and they surprised them. With the fans actually being there, like, oh my God, we haven't seen our fans.
Somebody tell me in the comments if you made it this far in the podcast. Congratulations. But somebody tell me in the comments, they do like Bruce? Is it a kind of a fan call thing they do? Because they did it a lot in the live performance.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, I think it's a dude thing. Maybe there's just a bunch of dudes, and it's like.
Is it because the fans are called Uja?
Oh, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they're doing so. Anybody knows? Let me know. But that was. I was like, oh, they're booing them. But I was like, oh no, it's a. Brr.
Anyway, so they had that little fan meeting. It was really cute. Bona is finally back with the group. She had been.
I'm like, great. Another like goddess walks in. How many goddesses do you need?
We didn't know the group that well, so like weren't familiar with her anyway. But she's done with her drama. Everyone in the comments tell me if I should watch her drama. Should I watch Bona's drama?
Yeah, we're picky about dramas. But we like good ones.
I'm thinking about it.
They look good.
Anyway, so she's back, and she's a popular member too, so fans are really excited about that.
She was center mostly, I think.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Yeah. Like again, we don't know. But so the fact that she came back was really exciting, and they talked to the fans about what song they wanted, and they made a lot of suggestions for some different ones. Yeah. It was mainly pantomime and one
I
other.
knew pantomime. So you hadn't listened to it much, but I listened to it quite a bit because I've been listening to a lot of K-pop girl group playlists and auto-created ones to find more good girl groups because that's what I mostly listen to. And I've heard this song a ton. They have a lot of really this version of it, this style, jazzy, Paris in the 20s type stuff is not my jam almost at all. I do not. I feel no. It's like. It's like modern pop country. There's no emotion there. It's just to me, I feel no connection. But it's WJSN, so I'm like, this is amazing. But the performance, first I thought maybe it was a bit too much. They were doing too busy and doing this. But this is your last song. Awesome. This is the last song. This is the big.
If there's ever a time to go big, it's now.
I was like,
it's really now.
It's like they got the last high note covered. They've got that covered. They've got a rap part. They've got that covered. They had acrobatics, good dance, but they didn't try to do something that was out of character for WJSN. WJSN, from what I understand and what I know, I've seen with KP, they're a bit groups like that are a bit of an old school style of K-pop, where it's big groups of pretty girls and they're doing pretty dances that aren't like hard hitting. They're doing the flowers.
It's not Girl Crush.
I love that stuff. I love that stuff.
Yeah, it's
a more modern version of that is Luna. Yeah, who's doing a big group, pretty girls, but doing amazing dance, but a bit more powerful. Kepler is the next generation of that, where it's not sporty, quite Girl Crush, but it's sporty. It can cover all that. So WJSN groups like that, excuse me, I believe might be suffering a bit lately from a crisis of identity. Now, WJSN has always done very mature, or they've done a lot of very mature, like the WJSN Black song, such a smooth song. they're very good at that. But in this, I think they were kind of maybe we should do this, maybe we should do this. But they got a good reception. So they can see now that, at least as far as the live audience and Korean audiences are concerned, it's still a popular style of thing. So I'm glad that they came out and didn't try to do, not that there's anything wrong with this, but didn't try to do something that was not part of their identity.
Yes.
They did a bunch of pretty girls on stage, singing well,
it suited them
rapping,
well. And
gave a spectacle.
That's exactly what I wanted at this point, and from them in general, was give me something big, give me something over the top. And they, like, we early in Queendom picked on people for having too many gimmicks in their show. They had like a million of them, but they all worked perfectly.
If you pull them off, it's
so
fine.
It was really fun. They had like so many tricks and things going on. They had the sheet with the lights on it, so that the effect was in front of them instead of behind them.
Yeah, which Dion came up with.
And that came down. It fell down and was like this amazing reveal moment where that comes down. The audience is like, whoa! And they had like dancers at the front that was like a Broadway performance, and then they, went through and they did pair dances like ballroom dancing, and then they did like they were dolls. The dance break was like they were like
a little
what's it called with
marionette
the marionette dance string.
It was like
thing.
the backup dancers were dancing with them and almost putting them away or something.
Yeah,
it was really interesting. It was a weird.
So clever.
It was just to cover up people getting on straps behind it, but I thought it was really neat.
Like all the back dancers come out, and there's like a whole circus, and they have the professional acrobatics people, and then they had 4 members also learn some acrobatics. Which was
hilarious in the behind the scenes. I love Exie so much.
I love her so much too. Like
she's like the mom energy radiating off her.
She's so relatable. She's so relatable. Like one of those people where I'm going to try something, and then it's difficult, and you don't do a very good job in the first time, and you're like, I quit. And you're like, I give up. And she was like pouting and whining, and they were like, I can't. It might have been Luda was like, get up and try again.
Yeah.
And like making her try, and then she tried again.
Supposedly she does that.
And she figured it out. Yeah, I think she was pouting. She figured it out. Then she was like really confident afterwards. It's like, yeah, I did great. And it was just really funny.
This reminded me
that
also
is so relatable.
Of her whenever she was sad after the one performance. Everybody, the broken hourglass performance.
Yeah,
she
was
starts
very
crying.
Frustrated.
She's the leader.
She's very passionate.
There was a running theme in this whole series. You'll see of the kind of leaders are not as big of a deal as they used to be. I think some groups are going without leaders now more. Billy, Purple Kiss. Maybe it's becoming less of a thing.
Yeah.
It depends on how many people you have. But if you notice, Eugen in this episode 2 talked about not being a reliable leader.
Yeah.
That's what makes a good leader, is you admit you want to get better, and you're inspired to do it for other people. That's why I was saying Mashiro kind of stepped up, I think, maybe a bit, and maybe they were conscious of that and said, hey, Eugen's having a hard time, and Mashiro was like, say no more. It's beautiful to see, but Exie's the type of leader who is she's vulnerable when she wants to be, but she's done it so long that she knows there's times when I don't have to be the leader, I can just be the dork or be the vulnerable one or whatever, but then she comes back, she always demands a really... when she talks and stuff, you're like, oh, she feels like the leader.
She's very cool.
And I thought that she gets okay. So she's trying to do it. She can't, because you got to be able to hold yourself up by one arm. I can do
That's
it.
That's hard.
I've got
you gotta have
some
the
upper body strength.
A
lot of young ladies don't, because they're not as muscly as
they're
not working out.
They're not lifting.
Which I hope that becomes a new thing for girl groups. They become really
strong. Yeah.
Super strong. It'd be cool. Anyway, so she can't hold herself up by the arm. Luda could, what's her name can. So they're just like, we're just going to kind of put you in a swing. And so they put her in a swing. Watch her fan cam. It's so cute. So they put, and the backup dancer is supposed to spin you as you go off.
Yeah.
And she kind of does, and then she's just kicking her legs to keep the momentum. She doesn't realize you lean your body in the boo, woo. And so she's just kicking her legs, kind of, and then she stops. I gotta be pretty. Hang on. And so she's trying to hold the pretty pose.
It's kind of flailing.
And then compare it to the other side. I think it was Luda or whatever, who was really good at it. Yeah. And she's like, oh,
Bono was really good at it.
She's like looking like an angel, and there's Exie kicking her legs. And what I liked about it too is as soon as the ending fairies come up, and by the way, this. I have to say, this segment made me so depressed because all I thought was, I have wasted so many years I could have been into this group.
Yeah.
why, future me, travel back in time and tell me.
What was Young laughing about?
As soon as it stops
she laughing at
probably Exy. And this is what I was thinking this is what's so brilliant about this group is you knew she did that and they had a good laugh over it. She was trying, she was trying, but the fans would have a good laugh over it. Not that she can't do amazing dances, but she just flummoxed a bit, and it was just so cute. This is the type of group that they pull off these amazing dresses. They look crazy. They're so talented and wonderful, but they have this vibe about them that everybody's falling in love with them.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
it was funny.
Subin is like, she's got to be in my top 5 now. There's Sakura, Sue Metal, Cheon from IZ*ONE. Oh crap! I'm gonna start going down 10, and she's got to be in like top 6 or 7. She, during the behind the scenes in the previous episode, she had a PowerPoint. So she did a PowerPoint in the previous episode and had to bring it up. By the way, guys, remember it was popular so that means she's looking in the comments, she's hitting Control F, typing in her name.
Everybody loved my PowerPoint presentation.
She's like, she thought it was cute but she also knew it was kind of a meme, So she was proud that she was a meme now. Mm-hmm. And not only that, but she had the boost from the beautiful singing, the beautiful job. Moment when she does the dress, I was just like, oh my god, Subin's the best thing ever. And so she's like, so I made another PowerPoint, which is another. It's hard to elevate a meme, the second generation. It's like, okay, we did the meme. They were like, oh, gross, and we don't want to watch another. They were giving her a hard time.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. They're like, this is really helpful, actually. Thank you very much. And she's using herself as the example in the photos, smiling like a girl, smiling like Vanna White with the letters. I just
the thumbnails of her fan cams. Oh, and a fan that was at that little miniature fan meeting that they had brought out a printed clipboard with some papers and gave it to a manager who then gave it to them. That was feedback that had been written out by fans who couldn't come to the meeting, which again, this must be a fan club president or something like that.
This is what I was yes.
And gave it to her, and Subin was like, so I read through all of it and then I summarized it. And actually, like, as someone who deals with giving feedback as my job, like I'm a professional feedback giver, interpreter, it was like really good, and the comments that the fans made were spot on.
Right.
They were like, one, you need to tell a story, but it has to be something that you can understand intuitively.
Outside of the fandom. It shouldn't
have to be explained.
No, you don't want to have
because they recognized, they said in our first 2 performances there was a story, but it had to be explained. You need to have something
even after I heard the explanation, I was
that doesn't have to be explained at all. That's just and that was like exactly correct. And like some of the other comments, but that was the one that stood out to me. That I was like, that's why I'm glad they incorporated all these ideas into this one performance. It's a lot, but it was exactly what they needed to do, and it fits the song style.
Yes,
it fits their style. It was beautifully executed. It was really fun.
This whole episode, I've said this for a long time. I explained to my my metal loving friends or my country loving friends. I'm like, you gotta understand, K-pop is comic book culture. You are picking a favorite team. You're picking your favorite member. Their superpower. But
not to derail, but someone on a random subreddit that I was reading this week, it might have been. I don't know which one was like, I think it's really weird that people have biases, and I was like, do you have a favorite Avenger? Do you think that's weird?
Do you know how to have fun? Do you smile?
I was like, of course we have biases. Do you like Iron Man or Captain America? That's what this is, everyone.
But
anyway.
What I'm saying is, like, and this so perfectly illustrated it, this episode. Eugen's struggle with leadership, Captain America doubting himself, that kind of thing. But Subin coming out and being like, I'm not the flashiest member. I like make ice sickles, or I shoot confetti out of my fingers. I don't like have the most powerful thing, but I can organize thoughts. And so and it also brings point what I was saying earlier, is that K-pop is a business of interaction between fan and the group. Yes, there's other people behind the scenes, but in its essence, that's what it is. It's a very pure relationship. More like rock bands back in this, they had Uber fans and stuff like that, roadies or whatever, groupies and stuff like that. But this is different. It's an emotional thing. And what was really cool about it is that young person brought down a clipboard. It was like, I'm from Sector 2. I've collated and collected but the manager didn't go, oh, get out of here, kid. They were like, of course. this is that kind of a transaction
because it's done out of like love and respect. Like they're not saying hateful things.
It is, but it's also done because the fans
we like
know.
You.
Right.
We want you to win. We're rooting for you. This is what we think you should do to win. Like
right. You tell Megadeth or country star Tim McGraw or whatever. I didn't like that song, by the way, on the album. He's gonna say, well, don't listen. There's a bit more of an individual over in K-pop. It's much more intertwined. And what was interesting about it is the comments made their way to Subin. I'm not going to say secretary and a derivative, but like the organized, the nerd, which is why she's one of my. I always tend to like nerdy idols. She was like, "This is my moment to shine." I already had the PowerPoint fired up, but this is like, by the way. And it was useful information. It was fascinating.
Good. It was great.
It's one of the many things behind the scenes I wish they'd show more of, recording and stuff. They show all the dancing and stuff. They have limited time, but I thought it was fantastic.
Delightful performance.
Yeah.
So to close out today's episode, we have a Reddit discussion posted this week asking, did Queendom add any new favorites to your list of idols? Or if you've had any new biases? This is what you asked. So what... Go ahead.
So I think we had 80 comments on that. The subreddit is really a great community. It's really a bunch of nice people. And I've discovered in Queendom, less so in an individual groups subreddit, you discover a lot more because there's other groups involved. And it's really fun. So what I was asking is, during this, have you been like, crap, now I've got 12 more, but I like 10 more people.
I mean, out here collecting biases.
Well, then you start going,
collecting faves.
Yeah, you start going, well, now I might have to lose a few. I got no room on my board anymore, whatever. And so there's 5 of the comments that I thought were great. The user URIM, whatever. Sorry about that. Said, I'm already a fan of Kepler, but Youngin got my attention again. During GP99, I've seen that she sings in a husky, raspy voice. True. Yet when they debuted, they made her sing in a high-pitched, soft voice, which is why other people say her technique is straining. Throughout Queendom, I've noticed that that wasn't the case, but rather she adjusts her voice depending on the concept. I love that they said that. Most idols are labeled by their fans not fit for some of their comeback concepts, but Youngin is the embodiment of versatility. Dion too. I didn't know her voice had that power. Dion is not as natural yet. I think she's getting there. It's not quite her wheelhouse to be a singer. I think she's more of a dancer than anything.
Yeah.
But Youngin is. I love that they said she's
underrated ace. Underrated.
That's professional attitude. She's already learning how to adjust her concept. But they're all doing amazing.
Yep.
User Joy in Struggle said just shouting. So I thought
you
did you
know
just
her
know
already?
shouting, or are you just saying, like somebody says, so I heard you like shouting, and can you tell me all the ways you like shouting and why is she and the person goes yes. Is that kind of an answer? Like just shouting. I responded to him, said
correct,
completely honest. Good answer. So I just thought that was. I like that. They're just like, I'm going to contribute to the conversation, but I'm going to leave 2 words and that's it.
Yeah, that's me usually.
Yeah. User psychological eb677. You guys in your screen names. I watched the show because of Brave Girls. Person number 1. I liked Helen and G-Friend before. Kepler and WJSN made a good impression, but I guess the only group I will pay more attention in the future is Luna, which throws me because they were so popular. I thought, but. How they treated Brave Girls, I like this line. How they treated Brave Girls is the best on the show so far. I believe this person is referring to when
Luna and Eunji working to the dance. Yeah.
They were so respectful. They really gave her a lot of credit and stuff like that. I agree because you could tell. At first it was a Uni respect thing. Then they saw
no.
You're
really
she's
good.
Great.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I like that. I like that
Besties.
comment too. Yeah. I like this. User's second dinner. It's kind of like second breakfast. This season of Queendom was remarkable on how I've cared about every single group participating at some point. WJSN, Luna, and G-Friend are in my top 5 listened to groups, along with Eyes One and Red Velvet. Excellent taste. Although by 2023, Stacey will have knocked one of them out of the top 5. Don't get me started about Stacey. It's so good. I think everybody loved the Brave Girls story. I sure did. Didn't know how down to earth and funny they were when they were alone. Eunji and Minyoung especially cracked me up on episode 7. I picked this comment because I think it illustrates all these comments seem to are kind of illustrating what I was trying to get to, was what kind of like made you go, oh, and I'm trying to get a variety of, everybody said something about everybody in the show. And so to me, it illustrated too, I try to remember this, is that you when you get into a hobby or K-pop or whatever the hobby is, you really have to be open to other people's opinions.
Yeah.
You're going to find something delicious if it's a food, you're getting into food, or you're going to find something enjoyable.
People should be more open-minded. I don't know. I don't get the tribalism in fandoms, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, I like that comment. Last one here, user Disastrous C4150. I confess that I always sort of believed Heejin to be a little overrated, but after Queendom, I take it all back. Girl's an ace, one of the best idols in the industry. I could not point out Heejin on a map. I don't.
She's the leader of Luna, the abs girl.
Is she the blonde one in this episode that had the necklace?
Brown hair.
She's the one who tells them how to dance.
Yes.
Okay.
Eve and Heejin are the dance leaders. Remember, they were teaching the tap class. That's Heejin.
Okay.
Abs girl.
And I'm not saying anything.
She's amazing.
It's not that I didn't notice, but
there's a lot of members. We don't know
a lot
them.
of members, and we're new to Luna and stuff like that.
I've managed to learn all WJSN members' names. I have not managed to learn all Luna members' names.
I'll work on that. We'll work on that
through the show.
But that comment again, illustrated what I was trying to get as well, is that you had somebody in your brain that you thought of in one way, and this is life, and then you go, okay, that thing is in my brain this way, that means it's that way, and you'll never know the truth of it. Like I said, I'm heartbroken that I didn't have any time with WJSN before now.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, if they break up right now. But
Starship, don't you dare.
I didn't say that. Take that. That's
Starship,
jinx it.
Don't you even.
I think they'll get a lot of attention out of it. Anyway, I think this is an illustration of like, and then now granted, I don't know if they were forced to watch Heejin or seeked it out, but she was on the screen, and then they realized, my opinion of this person it has changed. And that's where these shows are great. That's why we like the Olympic stuff. Anything where KCON where a bunch of acts are together, you start going, wow, like in Mix, for example, I wasn't big on him, and then you watch him and you're like,
you have to
really good.
I like opportunities like this, in shows like this, you've just got to be open-minded and be like, I'm gonna see what everyone has to offer, and learn that.
You don't have to like them all to the same degree.
Someone was saying with KCON today, they're actually going to the KCON tonight, and they're like, I just want to see Stacy.
No,
should I show up late or whatever? And I didn't reply, but I wanted to be like, no, seriously, just stay the whole time.
It's just fun.
It's fun. I'm not the biggest fan of B2B's music, but we got to know them through Queendom, and they are delightful human beings. Oh, they're hilarious. And we watched all of their performance on KCON and watch it again tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You can like groups for different reasons and in different ways.
You can also be
cool.
You can be cool with also being like, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
But with K-pop, that they're all working hard. There's no faking it in K-pop.
But anyway, to go back to your question.
Yeah.
Yours is Subin.
Subin is okay. So much the one I was like, oh my God.
My surprising new bias was, again, we came into the show really only knowing Chakami a little bit, so I already liked Da Young a bit, but I didn't know a lot about her. I didn't know Unso at all, and she has just come in and she has stolen my heart. I love her. She is a delightful, delightful person, and is exactly the type of idol that I love. Everyone always is like, oh, my idol's such a crackhead, or whatever. No, she really is the funniest,
I don't know how they
most
get anything
loud
done
and obnoxious.
With Dayan and her. And
Da Young and her, Unso is where did she come from? I love her.
Yeah. I think I see a lot of people saying Unso and Dayan stuff, but Dayan she's a bit like Chu. Somebody said this in these comments as well, that Chu has a chaos to her. She bites the girl on the shoulder. She's always patting butts.
You know what?
There's a bit of a chaos there.
There's a big difference with Chu. I was actually surprised. We know Chu because we watch her Chu Can Do It reality show. Even though we don't know Luna that well. I know Chu from her reality show.
I've known Chu
so when Chu is the center of attention, on her reality show, she's a great host and a great center of attention.
She's pretty chaotic.
But in these Chu is not the chaos energy of this show.
No, but you can see it there.
I don't think Chu is super extroverted with other people. She is with her group. But Unso isn't scared of anybody or anything. She walks in the room and is not embarrassed about anything. She will act a fool in front of everyone.
Well,
and I love that.
And Dayan had the same thing, this energy of just being I'm I'm here. Yeah. I'm gonna say stuff.
Like
we were watching.
Like Chew actually isn't as chaotic as I thought.
Right.
I was expecting coming into the show that we'd be Chew's gonna be so chaotic and funny. It's really not the case. She's pretty mellow for most of the time. But Unso, that's my girl.
There was that moment in whatchamacallit where like, Unso, calm down. Somebody said that. And then there was another moment where, although Diane's not the one who kind of, because I already knew it from Chakome, they killed her in a Mafia game just so she couldn't talk anymore. Because she just can't physically hold. But the thing is,
so cute.
I
adore them. I love them so much.
They seem to have it, which is
my girls.
A lot of times with groups, it's just so hard to find ones that seem to have fun together, or at least have the ability to have a good time. Yeah. Not always, of course.
And it does come with time. Like you can't underestimate. They've been together for a while.
They've
been together for a while,
and
that's
Exie
awesome.
is crazy too, but like, she kind of keeps it in control.
I only knew Exie from her drama. I didn't know it, and I just love her personality from this too. Super relatable. Like I love.
But, I mean, I could point some out with everybody. Hyolan, Brave Girls, everybody.
Yeah, I didn't know Hyolan. I like her talent and the way she runs her business. I mad respect. Brave Girls, I'm not surprised by anything I've learned from them. I knew they are what I expected, but I like them a lot. I just have a lot of fondness for Brave Girls. Luna, I don't feel like I've learned that much about them, but a little bit. But I can see why they are as good as they are, and people like them.
Yeah.
I liked learning about how they do their dance practices. That they have a very they have a system that works for them, and I thought that was really interesting. And that they have their dance leaders. I didn't really know them.
It was a good idea.
And the way they do that stuff. And
just
so
don't question.
That was cool.
Consistency. That's why they're so consistent. But I think Luna missed out because the first episode they weren't there.
Yeah, we did miss a lot.
With such a large group, you need every ounce of screen time.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
Great. I love hearing the comments here. I'll ask one next week as well because I just like that. That's the power of K-pop is that you get into somebody new and then you get this kind of rush of it's fun. You get to watch their videos and you start to recognize them. Maybe you go to the concert and you see them live, and so it's just a fun thing. But Soup is the best. So
okay. Next time we have the final songs of this fandom round, the ranking, and we get to actually learn about the fate of Brave Girls. As we mentioned last time, I'm going to try and not be upset.
Get in your car and drive to
am I going to have to drive my car to Korea? I'll drive across that ocean. And not be upset before we know what actually happened. They're definitely portraying it like they're going to be ranked 6th and not be on the show anymore.
We got Hyolan. We've got Brave Girls, and we've got Luna.
Butterfly is gonna kill. Like I already know this. It's so good. It's gonna be good.
So far, WJSN's #1 in my heart.
Yeah, me too.
Kepler next, VIVIZ last.
Yeah,
performance.
But I think Luna might end up like on par with WJSN.
That's what I'm saying. If not higher.
Who else?
Luna.
Brave Girls. I think there might be something surprising there, and I think there's going to be some real heartwarming something going on. I just feel that they're going to make everybody cry, I think is what they said.
We have to predict it real quick.
And Hyolan is going to be fun, but not necessarily surprising.
This is my thought.
So she might be ranked much lower because it's going to be fun, but not surprising.
It looked like a really impressive, well put, like the staging they always do is just really tight. Like it looked like a lifeguard thing. It was really cute. All that stuff. I think she's going to blow people away, but it's not going to have... People want something.
Not that rank first energy that she's had up to now. It's just my impression.
Not that she'll do bad. It's just I think the audience might be kind of like, I want to see more or something.
So we're more impressed by something else.
Right, audiences get bored. But with Brave Girls, I like predicting things. And I don't care if I'm absolutely wrong. It's just fun to predict. I think what is happening, if you watched the last part of the show, they're showing Brave Girls crying, and they conveniently show an edit that looks like all the groups are going to Brave Girls to say goodbye. That's what they're given an implication of. I think what happens is Brave Girls comes out. They had a little mistake at the first. I think it's the producer. Says, stop, we got to do it again. They do that on, I bet you, every act. Sometimes they have to reset a little thing for safety.
There was like a technical issue or something.
I bet it happens more often than not. They just decided to show it with Brave Girls. So they come out, they do the song. I think it's mostly a pop song, and then it has some maybe bittersweet parts to it. When it's over, the Brave Girls start crying a little bit. The audience start crying a little bit because Brave Girls is convinced it's over. This is what I think. So when they rank, Brave Girls isn't last. Brave Girls is like 4th or 5th, third maybe in the middle. maybe even higher. Who knows? And Hyolin's lower. And no, Hyolin doesn't get mad. But what they're showing there with everybody saying goodbye is at the end of shooting, because they're all going away until the end of the
live episode.
So they're saying goodbye to everybody. Yeah. If you notice, some are saying over here and some are, it just looked like Brave Girls was getting said goodbye, and I don't think they're going home. But with Mnet, they're not gonna. You can't. There's still reality. It's very possible they go home. I think, though, that if they announce that they're going home, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe something was said from somebody. That's a real fantasy. I think that, like, Hyolin or somebody says, no, this isn't fair or whatever. But
I really feel like it would have leaked. I feel like we would have heard.
I don't think they're going home. I think they're still doing low, and so they're going to feel sad about that and crying about it, but it's also a bit
as long as they don't go home, I don't care about the rankings anymore.
I just want to see them on the stage.
I want to hear the new songs. I want to see the live performance of the episode.
So that's my prediction. Leave in the comments what you think, because
you can vote, but we haven't been doing it.
I've been voting.
Partially because I don't really understand where it comes into play at this point.
I've been voting.
And the only thing I care about really related to voting now is that I don't want Brave Girls to leave. But we can't affect that. That's only the live audience that can affect that. So I haven't been very motivated to vote in the end. We'll vote in the live at the end.
I voted in it, and I've been doing.
But I don't really care about.
I've been streaming because the video streams and likes count as well. So go like and stream the ones you like. So.
Well, that's just me.
Great episode though. One of my favorites. I love the performances. Yeah? Everyone was so good.
Okay. It'll be fun. So we'll be back here next weekend. Probably not on Saturday, but probably on Sunday.
Because we'll be out of town. So.
And then we will be back after that with the final episode.
The week after that? Mm-hmm. So there's only 2 more.
Two more.
Woo!
Woo!
Been a slug.
Okay. So leave us your comment about your new biases that you've collected and your thoughts on their performances.
And what you think is going to happen to Brave Girls.
Okay, thanks everybody. Bye.
Bye.